Probably could have worded that better. Hey y'all, it's Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today. And for this video, I am going to be talking about some of the books that I think do not get mentioned on booktube enough. Alright, so before we get into anything bookish, make sure to hit like and subscribe down below, as well as tell me in the comments what is a book recommendation that you have that falls into this, that you don't see enough people talking about. So I feel like the title and the label in the intro are self-explanatory enough. I just don't hear enough people talking about these great books on booktube. That's not to say I've never heard anybody mention them. Chances are somebody has, but I think these books are great and they deserve more attention. So let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to start easy with an author that definitely has made her rounds, but I feel like this book, it didn't have nearly enough attention in comparison to some of her prior works, Old Flames and New Fortunes by Sarah Hogle. Now, Sarah Hogle is one of my favorite romance authors because she does rom-coms in a way that just tickles my funny bone perfectly. In this one, we are following Rowena, who believes herself and her family to be witches. She thinks she has this magical ability around flower arranging, that she can help to encourage positive energy, help the world bring about whatever it is this person needs or wants at that time. And she works at the family shop along with her two sisters who have similar interests. Now, the shop is technically owned by her best friend Trevor, but they're not really doing so hot. However, they have a great idea for a fair, but they need the help of Trevor's father in order to back the event, which is great seeing as how his father is in town to get married. So she and Trevor work out a scheme to fake date so that they can spend any wedding events trying to, butter up his dad and showcase that this is actually a great opportunity for him. However, she does not realize Trevor's father is marrying her high school boyfriend's mom, which brings Alex back into her life. Now, he is definitely an opposite. He does not believe in the whole witchy thing. He spends a lot of the story kind of pointing out the flaws in her logic, but also pointing out the flaws in her and Trevor's relationship because he is not buying that they are actually dating. And it is so much fun. It is absolutely adorable while also being really hilarious. There's this really cute, fun, magical realism element that sprinkles throughout it where, it could be maybe if you look at it just the right way, but maybe not. And I think that's part of the whimsy of it that just makes it really entertaining. Absolutely recommend Sarah Hogle's work across the board, but this one I think just did not get nearly enough love when it came out, and it deserves it because it's so cute and sweet and funny, a little steamy as well. I absolutely recommend this one. The second in the series, I have more complicated feelings about. Next up is a book that I heard people saying they wanted to read, but I don't think I really heard anybody else actually reading it. And that would be The Death I Gave Him by 𝗖cie. Now, this is actually a really clever Hamlet retelling where it is a sci-fi story following Hamlet, who is actually in a locked laboratory trying to figure out who was responsible for the death of his father. He's trapped in the lab with his four main suspects as well as his assistant Horatio, which is actually an AI throughout the lab. I'm honestly not really a Shakespeare girly, but Hamlet is one of the few that I really enjoy, and I thought the retelling of it here was so interesting. I mean, it's a story that obviously many of us know, many of us have read it or seen it in some variation, but I think Liu actually ended up working it out in a way that did have some surprises, given the fact that, again, it's a locked room mystery, but along with that, it also has this really cool sci-fi angle of it, not only with Horatio, but also with the things they have been studying in the lab and also what happened to his father. Plus, in Hamlet fashion, things start to get a little difficult in poor Hayden's head as he tries to figure out what happened to his dad. And then there's also a little bit of a queer relationship that works out here as well. This was such an interesting, really good ride. I really enjoyed this one. Like I said, I don't think I've heard really anyone else post a review about it, and it needs more attention, especially because I feel like there are so many people who love Shakespeare retellings. Here you go. This is an original one right here. Not only is the story itself really imaginative, the prose is also so well presented with a really tense atmosphere and the occasional very tender moment between certain characters. More people need to read this. Next up is a romance series that I actually ended up reading because of the Buns and Roses event that I attended last year. I am so excited for it this year. It is going to be taking place in October. If you're from the Dallas-Fort Worth area and interested, I will have information for it in the description down below. It is a great event that helps a nonprofit and has numerous romance authors come in for a tea, get to hang out with them, and then also have a private signing. Like I said, information for that is down below. I am so glad that I attended last year. I ended up finding so many authors that I really enjoyed, one of which was Angelina M. Lopez. Now, last year I read Full Moon Over Freedom, which is a witchy romance, probably could have worded that better, where we are following Jillian, who ends up having a second chance romance with her high school friend with benefits, and the two of them have always had the ability to see these supernatural beings. For Jillian, that has been La Llorona. For, oh crap, what's his name? Oh, it's gonna escape me. And for the hero, it is the Grimm. Whereas this one, the first in the series, is following Alex, and she has just recently moved back to town to help run her grandmother's bar. Ends up running into Jeremiah, one of her grandmother's residents that lives in the apartments over the bar, and a very tense relationship develops between the two of them as they try to save this bar. If you like very realistic, not necessarily always likable female characters who are going to frustrate you but also seem really authentic and hop off the page, I highly recommend these books. I enjoyed following Alex and Jillian so much, while at the same time being really frustrated by them at times, but it made me so much more invested in their stories, so much more invested in seeing them reach their happily ever afters. And the swoony heroes in these are also absolutely wonderful. Plus, I mean, who doesn't enjoy a fun paranormal element added into your romance? Next up is one that I actually read a few months ago, and I originally saw it mentioned by Elizabeth at Plant-Based Bride, and that's pretty much the only place I've ever heard anyone say anything about it. That would be The Stardust Grail by 𝗖cie his𝘁ส์. This is a really fun Indiana Jones-like heist story, but set in space. And then it has a collection of queer characters who form this little found family. This is a space opera mainly following Maya, who was a previous thief that would steal artifacts from museums and return them to their original civilizations with her partner, Uncle. However, now she is trying to work as a graduate student of anthropology, exploring the different species of their universe. But things get a little bit more complicated for her. Not only does Uncle return with an opportunity to try and find a very powerful object to hopefully save his species, but also she ends up stumbling upon a serious clue at her school that'll lead them to these ancient ruins and hopefully this artifact. But of course, along the way, they end up picking up a few strays, forming a little found family, and this was such a fun ride. It really is a Indiana Jones style adventure, but set in space. Maya is absolutely another one of those characters who you don't necessarily always like, but it's really hard not to root for her, especially as you see she's doing everything she can to try and help one of her best friends. But unfortunately, that's a little bit more complicated than she initially is thinking. I actually read this one as part of my Galactathon readathon, so I'll put a link to my reading vlog in the cards up above. Next up is one of my all-time favorite romance book series that I actually have heard mentioned a time or two. The occasional booktuber has read one of these books, but the series on the whole is so good. And again, I just feel like more people need to read these. More people need to appreciate them. And that would be the Say Everything series by Ronnie Lauren. So we've got Yes and I Love You, my personal favorite of the series, What If You and Me, and For You and No One Else. So across the board with all three of these, Ronnie Lauren does a phenomenal job of creating really well-developed characters that just hop off the page. Each of them have some sort of a neurodivergency, and she has a wonderful way of showcasing how integral that element is to their lives without making it the pivotal thing of each of their characters. There's so much more to them, and I really love the way she manages to foil the characters so well with the love interests. There's always a great deal of introspection that the characters have to work through, some healing they need to handle, but they always end up developing these really great connections that just, again, hop off the page, feel so authentic, really draw you into them and make you so consumed with the love story that's happening here. I love her stuff. It is so good. I absolutely comp her to Emily Henry, another really loved romance author. Clearly, Emily Henry doesn't need me to shout her out, but Ronnie Lauren, I will talk about all day long. Not to mention she does such great spice in these. I would probably say every one of them is around a 4 chili pepper. Yes and I Love You has a scene that lives rent free in my head, and it will forever. I just need more people to read these. Then this next one is definitely a mystery series, but it has a really strong romance in it as well. And then honestly, if you like Gilmore Girls, I definitely think you should check these out. Oh, what's that seasonal cozy mystery romance series that was really big there for a hot second? It's like the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, something like that. When I heard people talking about those, it really made me think of this series. And so again, if you like those, you should check these out. And that is the Sunshine Bikram series by Dorinda Jones. Dorinda Jones, another author that just has like a direct line to my funny bone, honestly. Some of her other series are definitely bigger commitments, but this one is a 3-book series with some cozy fun mysteries, a slow burn second chance romance, and delightful family feels. So at the start, we are following Sunshine Bikram, who has just recently become the sheriff of her small town when her parents ended up entering her into the election without her knowledge. So she ends up moving back with her daughter Rory and pretty quickly realizes for being a small town, there's a lot of weird things going on. And along with that, she continuously ends up running into Levi, her childhood crush that she has not seen in about 13 years. Like I said, Dorinda Jones is absolutely hilarious. And though I am not really a cozy mystery person, I do think she has a fair amount of high stakes situations in her books. But the series is so much fun. The family feels in this is also great. Her parents are so entertaining. Ari absolutely feels like a mini-me to Sunshine. And Levi, I mean, swoony, charming, strong, silent type, but so sexy. If you love Gilmore Girls, here you go. Very similar vibes, but again, gets a little spicier as you go on. And trust me, Dorinda Jones absolutely can do spice well. Another series I absolutely think needs to have more attention. But on that note, that is officially it for today, y'all. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, let's leave the sunshine emoji in the comments. I have links to all of my socials as well as a few ways you can support me down in the description. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Love you, bye!